What's good, everybody? It's me, it's Obly, and today I'm walking you through this 19 Gambit that we've got. You guys are going to be eating good soon because I have about 5 videos to upload, this being the first one. And I also have a really nice Unholy video too. So, starting the pool, I've got I'm marking stuff with Moon. The way I'm going to open this is 1 on power, 1 potion, and then just a full burst, normal rotation. And I'm just going to give it to this fucking Fishmancer. So I'm trying to stay nearby fish sticks as well to try and cleave. I'll change my target if it's necessary, but if I don't need to because I'm in burst and I'm cleaving hard, then there's no real point to actually change them. But yes, so making sure the fish bolts get interrupted as well as the cries. And I'm trying to control a little bit, but it's not going well. I end up missing a couple of these little murlocs, but also trying to kill these fish sticks. These fish sticks they live far too long, but imagine if you couldn't cleave them. That would be double shit. That's how it was in the PTR. You couldn't cleave them. So thank God they actually changed that. Okay. I think my target died, so I'll switch to the Scalebinder now. Get another second burst out. Definitely a second burst. Everything is so healthy. It's more than enough time to send a second pillar window, so I'm going to do just that. Switch to the fish stick. Now that I don't have cleave and shit rolling. When I have breath and stuff like that, it's not really necessary to switch because the cleave is enough. But when I don't have that rolling, I do need to switch for certain. Now everyone's complaining about my sound, so I'm literally holding my mic close to my mouth now when I'm doing a video like this because I don't need it to just be sat on my desk. So hopefully it's not shit. Okay, next pack of our cooldowns coming back, so I'm thinking about what I can do. I literally gripped that Fishmancer through the fucking floor lead. But that's fine. So now we're going to give it to this guy. Send off all burst. The main aim is just to burst as many times as possible. Killer machines. As soon as you get a killer machine, send it. There's no need to wait. I dropped a little D&D down there because I actually forgot I was talented slow D&D. So as soon as I remembered that, I started doing it. Sorry, team. Okay. Now, as soon as these guys sort of start to die, move on to the next pack. Ellie Shaman's just absolutely just shagging. It's crazy. The nerf Shaman, to be fair. I wanted to see this guy perish, but I think I'd give up halfway through and just leave. Yeah, there we go. So next pack, we've got just pillar for this. Now this is a little bit spicy, this pack. Bit of control doing? Bit of control doing? What kind of English is that? Doing a bit of control first before I send my pillar window. The main when you're sending things like your pillar window, you don't want to have to stop bursting to do some control or an interrupt. Well, you can do an interrupt, but if your interrupt is far away or is going to be shit, then you may as well just get that just done first. Especially if you're a new player, the mental clarity of just getting your job done first and then bursting afterwards, so it's just uninterrupted. It's very good. It's a decent tip until you kind of get comfortable with the game, and then you can easily just do both at the same time. So we accidentally ninja pull here. Definitely not my fault. Maybe. I don't know. They'll see this. So no, it wasn't. But I've got full burst, except I've got no runes. So I need to be a bit weary about how I'm going to burst here. Luckily, I knew I was in a good position there to press breath because it was giving me runes back. The only thing that sucks here is that I'm doing a lot of gripping instead of DPSing. We also managed to pull another pack somehow. I have no idea how. I was really focused on killing this Scalebinder because as soon as that Scalebinder died, the fish stick would despawn. So definitely worth it. Frantically looking for another target here. And I'm just like, fuck this. I'm just going to hit the fish stick. Why not? So there we go. Nothing really much to say about here. The Scalebinders are somewhat of a prior target because obviously you don't want their healing to go off. I dropped another D&D there for the slow because I didn't know what was moving and what wouldn't. But also you want to make sure the fish mancers are interrupted because their water bolts can one-shot people, but then also you do want to make sure that the little flipping bigger guys don't do their cry of because then the tank will die. Loads of kicks in this first pull, but the thing with this dungeon is once this first pull is done, in my opinion, the key's pretty free. Like there's not really much else going on afterwards. You're just gripping it constantly, which is not anything I'm shy from. Let's grip that guy back. And there's another guy over there. There's nothing else we can possibly ninja pull. But even though we did ninja pull stuff, we are still fine. Somehow we still make it out alive. Testament to the quality of this DK. So now we're gonna do this next pull, and this next pull is fucking so dog shit because it is the every melee's wet nightmare. It's these fucking guys with the circles. I hate them so much. I have to sit here and just do nothing. Just avoid. And I've got to go around these bloody vases as well because of these circles. Get stuck. Shut up. But yeah, as soon as these shell crushers get into position, we're going. Now, Elemental Shaman takes the majority of the kicks as well as the Prot Paladin, because Prot Paladin likes the kicks for the damage that it provides, and I think just the utility in general, and an Elemental Shaman gets a damage reduction based on the school that interrupts, so it's helpful for them to interrupt too. So my interrupt is kind of low prio, but this is one of the spicy. This is the last spicy thing in the dungeon, in my opinion. Now I'm going to place my shit in the middle here because this is somewhere where not a lot of people should really be stood, and then that's what I thought. Meanwhile, the tank goes straight through it by accident, so it's probably should have been aware of that, but who cares? It's a tank. The tank can sit it. So we're doing literally tank damage because we had no CDs and we can't even sit at the boss, which sucks. So probably should have done something about that. And just as I do my pillar window, the intermission happens. So this is so poor from me, essentially. Wasn't looking at boss timings. I was just fucking shit up. But also I wanted to get stuff on cooldown. Fuck. I wanted to get stuff on cooldown so I could breath as soon as possible. I'm going to go grab this dark orb. And then go to where I need to be. We were thinking about just delaying these ads a little bit, but it's not really that important. It's only me that needs to get my cooldowns back, but they'll be back in 10 seconds, so it's not an issue. But I will be able to just sit there and finally just DPS something. Now that these ads are dead. And to be fair, at least it's when my pillar comes back, or breath comes back even, because if I had to breathe and avoid all that shit, no one would be having a good time. At all. So now I'm just going to wait for the ads to come back so I can get the triple mastery buff as opposed to just the single one for the full duration of my burst window. And it works out in the end. It does mean some decent damage comes out of it, but it's just that first pull, man. You can't really milk anything much. Or even if you could, you'd be sacrificing maybe like an AMS in order to do it, and I just don't feel like it's worth it. But we're finally not doing tank damage. Yippee! We're certainly not doing elemental shaman damage, but is what it is. I like to grip one of the ads in between the purifier and the boss, because the purifier, the other one will walk a little bit, whereas we're not going to move the boss, so it makes sense. Try and predict where it's going to go. Absolute terrorist line there, straight through melee. Fantastic, very nice. Cheers. Alright. So, I quickly take a look at the console and pop it there. Did we get one more console? I think we do. But I'm looking at the ad timer here, and I see the ads are in 15 seconds, so I didn't think it was worth holding my pillar for that. So I've just gone and sent pillar here. Even though realistically you get more DPS out of having the two ads alive and sending pillar, it's just not worth saving for 15 seconds. That's just too long, especially when breath is back in 15 seconds from now as well. Alright, nothing really to do here. This boss is super fucking fun. No, when you get to the higher key levels, it does get a little bit repetitive. Because you just sat fighting a boss for fucking ages. It doesn't actually do that much. With the raid encounter, at least, there's kind of like phases. Things change a little bit. It doesn't change too much. There's like one mechanic per phase with this guy. Anyway, yeah, pop a full burst here. He's quite healthy, and to be honest, there's quite a bit of RP before the next pack. I was not keen on holding for this. I was, however, keen on holding my nether prism, because nether prism, using it here would not have given me that much value. However, using it on an AoE pack and it's more stacked up will give me fucking shitloads of value. So the good thing about nether prism is how much you get a reward for holding it. We do have to do a console as well, so maybe if I did use the nether prism, we wouldn't have had to do this console. Thinking about it, actually, upon review. Nah, surely. Maybe. Fuck. Maybe I cost the key. No, we time it, so of course I didn't cost it. But maybe I wasted time here. The timer on this dungeon is fucking free. Just waiting for the console because I didn't get a chance to have a look at it. And now the boss is dead. So I probably should have done the nether prism there. Now looking back in it, probably you're a bad boy. Let's take this time to reflect and have a drink. Yummy, yummy. So, can't remember if I flashed my talents, but if I didn't flash my talents, they'll be in the comments below. The DPS from that boss, not fab. But, it's okay. We'll make up for it everywhere else in the dungeon. So we try and avoid this burly deckhand. And I thought we almost pulled it there. Even though I know I didn't pull it, I still made myself shit. Anyway, now we're going to get a fat burst here on these guys. Going to absolutely unload. We had a potion as well. Probably could have used this in the pack next instead, but then you're holding breath for far too long. It's just not worth it. Did you see that? We even had 2 stacks on the main target as well that Reaper's Mark was applied on the Wave of Souls. We double stacked that, so our main target was taking 9% additional damage instead of 6 like everything else with 2 stacks would have. Brilliant. But everything died pretty quickly there. I'm wearing a Soul Gorge's Augment rune as well. Just noticed that. That rune, the little pinky rune buff, is such a nice effect. Anyway, we're going to do a big double pull here with 2 Tide Sages. Almost get clapped, dude. So we're using our empowering weapons realistically to either stack Bone Grinder quicker or to just when we don't have a killer machine. Almost never using an empowering weapon to double up a killer machine. To go from 1 killer machine to 2 killer machine before you spend it. It's just not worth it DPS wise. You get more DPS for the runes that you spend, but you are in no position. There is no real bad rune economy. Like, you don't need to do that. You can, if you know your way around DK and spending runes and weaving your abilities together, you are more than fine with just spreading the killer machines out rather than doubling them up, because you're just taking killer machines away from your future self, essentially, in my opinion. It's worked for me. So we're going to do some big bursts now. Breath, everything. Even have a cheeky little antenna proc during this. How fabulous. Everything lined up pretty nicely there. Somehow doing more damage than the Elemental Shaman, but not anymore. A dream not very long lived. It feels weird to hold this mic like this. I feel like I'm a commentator in sports. It's going down the red line. So I feel like a fucking horse commentator. Anyway. He's jumping off the top rope! I don't know. Anyway. So they're dead. I've got Pillar and Reaper for the boss. There's no real tricks of the trade here. You just pop, honestly. You could wait for the ads, but I don't really feel like there's much need to wait for the ads. They're not going to be close, and I don't want to be close to them. So we're just popping. There's no techiness you can do here. I'm staying as a group, trying to stack on the purple marker as much as possible. We're doing a good job of it now, but I think I remember that breaking down later on, but we'll find out. Excuse me. We've got breath coming back as well. I do like this little haste buff. It is nice, even though we don't really value haste super nice, or don't value haste that much. I do quite like to have it. I should really have AMZ or AMS that, but in that moment when we got that hit, I thought to myself, I should really be AMZing this. So the next one, I believe I do, or it might be the next one after. I don't know. Probably the one after. I think when we get into a good position to make it happen, we do. But we're stacking up, trying to get close to the wall as much as possible. This boss takes ages. But when you have like a good strategy for this boss, which I think is generally the strategy that everybody uses, is this one. It does seem to go a lot easier when you're not panicking around. It's just as soon as you break the formation and you don't stack on top of each other for some reason, shit does hit the fan. There we go. AMZ, just as I saw that the buff was about to run out. Lovely. Don't even need to use a defensive. Why defensive when you could offensive? Alright. We're doing a pretty good job of getting the ads, and this is kind of where we've broken up a little bit now. Luckily, it didn't really do us too much damage breaking up there, because there was everything was quite nicely stacked anyway. But now we're looking to go back to the start. But we are breaking up a little bit. Me as a melee, I want to be at the boss, so I can't realistically be at purple all the time, but I'm trying to be there as much as possible. But I think there's a conscious effort to make the marker go close to the boss so that I can hit it. Now that's a very unfortunate pull there, because that's exactly where we want to be. We do face two deaths here, but we have 2 reses, so it's not the end of the world. It is fine. Luckily, we had no deaths in other places of the dungeons, because if we had, that would have been it. That would have been key fucking done. Now I'm going to walk through this puddle with AMS, because there was no real other place for me to go there, and it worked out. Every anchor shot I get, I try and net death advance. Now, cool, the buff's going to run out in a min. Conscious of taking damage before it does. This bit, I was shut up there. I was thinking, where the hell am I going to go there? But just ran that straight out. I used my death advance. I should use my wraith walk instead, but he's what it is. So now we have just a 45-second burst. I have lots of bone grinder stacks as well ready for that burst, so I can instantly proc it. I think I was sat at like 3 or something like that. It's really nice. So we've had a pretty decent time this dungeon, lining up our Reaper's Mark procs with our Bone Grinder 5 stacks. Now, boss is almost dead. Definitely not going to be sending another burst window here. If I do lose my Bone Grinder stacks, because I just didn't have enough crits. Didn't have enough killer machines. He's okay. Boss dead now, and then it disappears. So in the next pull, we have all of our cooldowns, and we have 7 stacks of Nether Prism. We are running a crit flask as well, just because I feel like I could do with a bit more crit. If I was playing Unholy, I could just do an Alchemical Chaos Flask, but in this, I think crit is just so king. In AoE, crit is so king. It scales so much better in AoE, because getting a killer machine is much more important in AoE than it is in single target. In single target, it's obviously very important, but in AoE, it's even more important. So I'm focusing the Starseer here, that's the main target, until the Wandering Pulse comes, and then we absolutely just shag that. There it is. And I've got my burst rolling as well, so it should die pretty quick. Tank doing 10 million DPS as well, that is nuts. What's going on there? Shaman doing tank damage. What the hell? Oh no, now that I said that, he's ramping. This obviously is going to go very fast. But I should have gone back to the Starseer for some fucking reason. I switched my target and didn't go back to it, so now the Starseer stayed alive for another Pulsar. Stupid boy. That was actually entirely my fault. That's literally the least efficient thing I could have done. But I feel like when you get to this part of the key, as long as you just interrupt things, like you can't really fuck this up. As long as you've got a lot of time here, you can't really fuck this up. I don't feel like anyway. Taking an interrupt when needed. Gonna save my pot as well, I think. We have Bloodlust in 3 minutes, so we're gonna use that on the boss. There's a Pulsar, aim for that. I'm making it my main target, but I'm still doing things like Frost Scythe and Glacial Advance. However, if I can see that I don't have any cooldowns or anything like that, and I need to just focus some damage in, then I'm going to switch to Obliterate and just do the... Also, was do the... Not economical. Do the ethically correct thing. Why have I forgot the word for that? Ethical. Ethical. It's literally just ethical, isn't it? Do the ethical thing there. Sacrifice my pad. Literally last pull until the boss now. And we have so much time. A stupid amount of time. I feel like the timer on a Gambit is very, very free. Switch to the Pulsar as it comes. Doing single target damage to it because my AoE damage is pathetic right now. There's literally no point doing any, so I am definitely going to be doing the single target on that Pulsar. Get the fuck out of the way of that. No pillar window, everything's super healthy, so we're definitely going to send. And we have 2 Killer Machine stacks, 2 Bone Grinder stacks. Easily attain that Bone Grinder. Another pulsar. I'm bursting, so realistically, wouldn't be the end of the world to do some AoE there, but I think I still stick to the obliterate to kill them faster. Fine. Things on a 19 do survive for quite a long time. But that's good. I mean, it's better for your cooldowns that way because you get 1 or 2 pops on packs instead of like 1 then hold for ages, then 1 then hold for ages. Going into the boss with 9 minutes. Will we make it in time? I don't know. We also have breath. Just waiting for these ads to kind of be close to spawning and then bam. Give them the dick. And we have a decent nether prism, not like fantastic nether prism. I would really like to have a nether forge. And a Raz nether forge plus nether prism I think is the best combo and stuff like this. I'd like to have a double on use. Like having a big on use every time you need it is heavy. Because right now my on use is just like about 31k. It's about 31k strength every time I'm using it, but nether prism comes with just damage and no raw stat. So to have, it would be nice to have an Raz. Not in place of a prism, to be fair, because what I just said there kind of sounds like I'd have it in place. But to have an Raz to be so that my nether prism can like stack for 3 minutes and still get the same sort of on-use benefit, I think would be decent. I'd suffer a little bit outside of cooldowns by having this because you'd have no antenna, but I think it'd be worth it. Yeah, have a 36k strength proc on every other burst and then have a fucking 60k strength proc on every other burst would be nuts. Versus having a bit extra crit outside of your cooldown window. I don't really think that's a good trade-off. I think having the bigger bursts every time is a better trade-off. Think about compounding your cooldowns together. Alright. Phase 1's taking bloody ages. I have my burst as well, and I know that he's going to phase, but in my opinion, I probably should have just done a pillar window and held breath for Bloodlust. Now that I'm looking back at it, because she's going to phase now. I'm not going to get like I think I'll get maybe a full burst off, roughly with the way that the health is going down. Like it'll get use, but I might have got better use holding breath. Yeah, so I've got a full burst off at least there. So I mean it was necessary, but the other two are going to burst as well afterwards. So pick a star, stay on your star, make sure the red line is walking through the star here. There's nothing really you can do other than garner resources at this point if you wanted to, but to be honest, I don't really care that much. I should be attacking the boss to maybe stack up my nether prism slightly more. I didn't actually use my nether prism on that last burst there because I didn't feel like that was a burst that really would have benefited the most. Having a heavy nether prism in this phase I feel like would be much better, so I'm saving my nether prism for that. That would be like pad because it's unnecessary. Avoiding those arrows as they come. We got quite lucky with the arrow spawns actually, they're quite far away. I think I'm going to have a fully stacked out, 18 stack breath. 18 stack nether prism for my next breath window. That's heavy. So yeah, I didn't get to breathe with lust, which is kind of sad. So doing that, I think doing a pillar window would have been a better choice there, as she was phasing, or he. I don't know. Is this gender neutral? I have no idea. Now we burst, but we have a pretty bad bone grinder. I was trying to get Reaper's Mark to explode. I think Reaper's Mark did explode while Bone Grinder was still active. However, my exterminates were now not buffed by Bone Grinder looking at the video. Tried to get a bit of extra dips on it, but 70k with a 730 nether prism, you get 70k strength by max stacking it up. That is nuts. That's you as a character, you have about 100k strength. So your damage is just doubled. That's nuts. The fuck? Almost. Basically. Well, I had a max stack nether prism in a Halls key, a Halls 19, and I will upload that Halls 19. But I think I did like 70 mil, which was on one of the pulls, which is pretty nuts. I think I'm going to make that short. I'm going to upload that today. Today is big content day. You're going to get loads of videos. I have loads of 19s just stacked up. I've been a busy boy. You guys haven't seen. I've been pushing keys quite heavily, so I'm now 3.7 3.7k, a little bit over 3.7k. Almost got all 19s, almost Resi 19, which is pretty cool. We're getting there. But this boss, however, is not getting there. It's fucking taking ages. Come on. This is like this dungeon just has so many random intermissions where you can't do damage. Not random. They're entirely scripted. I don't know what I'm speaking. I'm just speaking out of malice right now. Speaking out of spite. Run. I only had my Wraith Walk movement, but I didn't really want to use that because I was want to save my Wraith Walk for an emergency, and that was not an emergency. That would be pure greed to have used my Wraith Walk to get back to the boss there. Pure DPS greed. Alright, the boss is very swiftly coming to its end. Thank God. We end the dungeon around about 9 mil. Pretty average for this key, I'd say. I wouldn't say this necessarily like super right home about DPS, but it is a key at the end of the day right now. This was probably the first in a long line of keys that we did. But yeah, let me see if do I get the damage up? Yes, I do. Let's pause the video there. If you want to have a look at the damage numbers, there they are. But thank you for joining me on my 19 Gambit. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. I will catch you in a bit. If you're interested in my Discord or my coaching, the links are in the bio. Cheers, everybody. Goodbye.